कालकालाय विद्महे कालातीताय धीमहि तन्नो कालभैरव प्रचोदयात्। ओम हिंगुळे परमहिंगुळे अमृतरूपिणी तनुशक्तिमनशिवे श्रीहिंगुळाय नमः। ओम तत्पुरुषाय विद्महे महादेवाय धीमहि तन्नो भैरव प्रचोदयात्। Namaskaram. Welcome to yet another video of our Ishtartha Guru Bhairava, where we will try to understand him one step closer as whatever we know him a minute before. In this particular video is going to be a much more detailed about one particular Swarupa, which is very minimal information which is available. And to get this, I am literally blessed by my Guru, because he was able to bless me with this information, where I am able to share this information to you all. It's about one of his Swarupa, as always told, in 112 Swarupas of Bhairava, there are 5 Gupta Swarupas, like hidden Swarupas, which has not been disclosed to like any of the realms. It may be like Vedic, it may be Vama, it may be like even Tantric, any sort of the domain. It has not been disclosed, but it is also been said this particular 5 Swarupas are open up to the people who actually go and become Bhairava Guna. Okay, that is why we always talk about Bhairava consciousness. In this 112 Swarupas, 108 are part of the Tantra Swarupa. So Tantra Swarupa is somewhat like, in all the Tantra text, these are the Swarupas which one or the other way you will be able to say this particular Swarupa. But there is one prominent book which is called as in Brihad Bhairava Tantra, which is like complete, we can call it as a Wikipedia of the Tantra Loka, which is and even it is also like Bhairava Tantra is what completely been articulated in all the different Swarupas. Especially it is focused on all 108 Swarupas, including, like, we can call it as a very detailed tantric homas is included. Again, this has only been advised or suggested not to actually read this completely, or even if you get this information, please make sure that actually your energy vibrations are getting connected to it before you start with any kind of such paddhati, because as I told you, every chemical reactions has its own way of outcomes. Similarly, Bhairava Swarupa, it is like a different way of combinations when it comes to each Tattva Guna what we hold them. So please make sure that this information, whatever I am trying to share, is from my own experience and my blessings from my Guru, which I am trying to share across all over to you. Today's Swarupa is about Pātāla Bhairava. It is very, very mysterious information, or we can call it as a very mysterious input, which rarely you will be able to find this information. But there are certain articulation which can also be connected to the dots. Like when it comes to the Pātāla Bhairava, there are a different sort of connection when it comes to, as I told you, in 108 Tantra Swarupa of a Bhairava, 104th Swarupa of Bhairava is Pātāla Bhairava. Here Bhairava was able to come into an existence into a very deep than a death. Why death? Not like a silence of a sky, which other Swarupas or other avatars come into a picture, but the silence beneath the world, because he governs the 7 lokas. Not this. He is actually the Kshetrapal of all the 14 lokas, but he is actually in the 7th layer of the loka. Maybe we will try to talk about that in detail about this in this video. When it comes to what we call it as like when even the creation was trying to create itself, like learning to breathe, it has been said that actually Devas and even Asuras were trying to learn what do you mean by fear. At that moment, Shiva created one Swarupa, and that Swarupa did not garden the heavens, but it was created, or we can call it as it was laid below through itself. We can call it as it lied below itself. Like that particular Swarupa was emerged as a just as a empty space. We can call it as a consciousness, a awareness, and that was Pātāla Bhairava. That he was not born, but he was uncovered in 7 lokas. In the Pātāla, he was uncovered. In Purāṇas, we never speak his name loudly. In any of the Puranic histories, you will not be able to hear about Pātāla Bhairava very in a detailed information. But they hint him. They have hided this information. They have warned this particular Swarupa is not for everyone. As always told, he is not actually to do the Aradhana. He is need to be experienced. In the Shiva Purana as well as in the Devi Purana, very clearly been articulated how exactly Bhairava came into existence. About Kala Bhairava Swarupa perspective. I believe you all would be knowing about this. It is a similar lines of the story of the creator. The Brahma's ego was being shattered by the Guru Tattva of the Shiva, which emerged from his third eye of his Ajna Chakra, which was the Guru of even the creator. The 5th head initiation was wandering. He was being cursed after this particular action as a Brahmahatya. It is being said that actually he was roaming around the Bhuloka, but in many of the videos I have already articulated or already shared, he wandered around 14 lokas, and whatever the time frame he was there, we are there, we cannot compare, because maybe our 1000 years equal to 1 minute for him, or our 10,000 years equal to 1 day for him. In that way, he was wandering for 14 long years and into the 14 different realms. I really wonder like how exactly that particular curse Brahmahatya was being completed, because our Guru, our Ishtartha Guru Bhairava, how exactly he went from each different lokas, so many Swarupas he was able to show and bless to all of us. And in this particular storyline, whatever we have heard about us, like after the Brahmahatya he started roaming around. But what the text does not say is Bhairava learned to walk carrying the skull and the fear of the karma, and that path belongs to the world where actually which has never been articulated. It is somewhat like, just to put it into somewhat like, Bhairava was the reflection of that fear. Bhairava was a reflection that how karma can be burnt. He was the first person to tell karma cannot be actually diluted. It need to be experienced. It need to be completed in your life. That is the reason always in Bhairava Anugrah we always talk about, when we do the Aradhana of the Bhairava, it is not that we can escape from the karma, but he will be with you in the complete process, making your journey fearless. That is what our Ishtartha Guru Bhairava is so easy for us, such that actually once we start doing the Aradhana of him, he makes sure that he is going to protect us. That the assurance he always gives to us. And even connecting to this, maybe you have heard about this particularly, the when demons flooded the god, or even when whenever there was a trouble to the devatas, or whenever there was a trouble to the demons from the devata swarupas, they did not run upward like Swargaloka, Brahmaloka. No, they always ran downwards. And the downwards is what is all about Pātāla. Pātāla is under beneath, where light even hesitated And even we call it as a time, where a time coil like a serpent, because in this particular Swarupa, Bhairava is governed, or his Vahana is serpents, because the entire Pātāla Loka is being governed by Sarpaloka. Maybe this story is connected into a different Swarupa perspective. Bhairava, who does not stop and threshold to the darkness, he is actually the person who takes care and consumes the, what we call it as a darkness. The moment Bhairava crosses the beneath the realms, the new name was being born. But this particular name, you can see articulation in couple of connected stories, as well as certain places where actually this you can hear about Pātāla Bhairava. Primarily, you can hear about him about a storyline where actually there was a demon called as in Malla, and this particular Malla, he escaped to the underworld to make sure, as I told you, like demons fled whenever they were fled by the god, they did not run away upwards, they ran towards down, actually like downwards. And when he went into the downward, Bhairava followed him not as a king but as a hunter. This particular Swarupa has actually been very articulation, we can call it as very prominent information is available in Maharashtra as well as in North Karnataka as a Khandobā. The same Khandobā Devata which we always hear even in what we call it as like Sai Baba story, where actually it has been said that Sai Baba was first able to come and witness to the Shirdi where the temple of Khandobā temple was there. And he is also been called as Mallari Bhairava. Mallari Bhairava because he was able to diminish, or he was able to kill Malla, the demon. So he became Mallari Bhairava. In this particular, what we call it as the four very prominent information which has been connected, even till dated, you will be able to find out Pātāla Bhairava is one of a very famous temple is about Ujjain, that is in Madhya Pradesh, very famous Kala Bhairava temple, which is in a Shipra, near to the Shipra river. In this particular shrine, I believe you would be knowing it. There is a Kala Bhairava temple. Just behind the shrine, a small underground sanctum is there, and that particular sanctum is called Pātāla Bhairava. Where if you go there, and they also do a Vaishnavi Devi Puja, there is a adjacent Devi temple also, and they tell that once they do a parikramana of these three, Kala Bhairava, and even the Pātāla Bhairava and Devi Darshanam, then actually the parikramana is completed. Here what we need to understand is, in the Pātāla Bhairava, wherever we have a sanctum there, this is just like a distant narrow steps, total darkness which go inside. There is no priest officially been doing any kind of a puja there. There is an empty space. Pātāla Bhairava, here his Swarupa is completely like a emptiness. He is Akasha Swarupa here. This Pātāla Bhairava is venerated quietly by the tantric. Normally Tantra Swarupas or a Tantra Puja Vidhana has been done in particular space. Especially spiritual seekers go there, sit there, experience him such that actually he can disclose. See, here Pātāla is hiding the something called as precious metal. Whatever we have precious metal outside in this Bhuloka comes beneath the world, and beneath whatever is there, it is governed by Pātāla. And the Pātāla Loka, people normally go for any kind of a any kind of name, fame, treasures, because serpent governs the treasures, and they make sure that actually treasures are being protected very well. And this is what actually Pātāla Bhairava is. Few of the tantric go there actually for such kind of rituals to be performed. But here what we need to understand as a Bhairava sādhakas is, Pātāla Bhairava is not only meant for such kind of information what we hear. Pātāla Bhairava is for the hidden spiritual informations. We can call it as a real spiritual seekers. Once they cross certain levels of sadhana paddhati, automatically his informations open up. Once his door open up, every sort of Bhairava information gets starting flooding inwards towards you. And that's where even to connect, whichever the Jyotirlinga you talk about, all 12 Jyotirlingas, every Jyotirlinga has a mandira dedicated to Bhairava. Many of them tell that actually I have completed all these 12 Jyotirlingas. But if you ask them whether they have seen the Bhairava in that particular Jyotirlinga Kshetra, they don't have the information at all. Exclusive, we can call it as Mandir 2, is being available for each Jyotirlingas. Like when it comes to what do you call it, like Pātāla Bhairava, Viranta Bhairava, located in the Ujjain itself. Okay, in Kala Bhairava Mandira, where even the similar to the liquor whichever has been offered to the Kala Bhairava, it has also been offered, but here a silver bowl offered by the pujaris is been offered similar to what we do it in a Kashi Kshetra to Kala Bhairava. In similar Surupa it has been offered because he is a Kala Tattva here. See, what we need to understand here is, in this particular Kshetra, there are certain articulation when it comes to the Pātāla Bhairava. Like very few people go sit there and do a sadhana. It has been very clearly been articulated, like in Avanti Khanda of Skanda Purāṇa. It is clearly mentioned how Kala Bhairava is connected and how exactly this particular Pātāla Bhairava Swarupa was been active. And is it also said that here the Kala Bhairava Murti, whatever we have it, it is older than even 10th century AD, even before Mahabharata. Like Purana very clearly tells, even in, as I told you, in Avanti Khanda, it tells that actually this particular Swarupa has been available there. And in Mahabharata, in even 10th century AD, King, like, yes, now you can be able to see that there is the architecture of the Maharashtrians. Yes, there were a lot of reconstruction happen due to the historical events, which we really don't want to talk about it. But yes, when it comes to such kind of a parampara, the dynasty which carried out in 8th to 10th century, before only this particular temple was there. Maybe we will be wondering about, when it comes to the 12 different Jyotirlinga, which are the Bhairava Swarupa which is active. Maybe as we are talking about Pātāla Bhairava, let me just talk or tell about how exactly this Jyotirlinga is connected into. When it comes to the 12 Jyotirlingas, there are 12 Bhairavas. Somanatha Bhairava is connected to Kapala Bhairava. And when it comes to the Mallikarjuna Jyotirlinga, it is Siddha Bhairava. When it comes to the Mahakaleshwara Jyotirlinga, Ujjaina, it is Kala Bhairava directly like a Kala Tattva. This is what actually we can talk about Pātāla Bhairava. This is third Mahakaleshwara Jyotirlinga, Pātāla Bhairava is connected to. The fourth Swarupa is Omkareshwara. It is Krodanda Bhairava, which is the which is connected to this particular Jyotirlinga. When it comes to the Kedarnatha, it is Ugra Bhairava. Bhimeshwara, it is the Bhima Bhairava. Kashi Vishwanatha, he being the governor of every state, he is a Kala Bhairava himself in a Mahakala Swarupa Kshetrapala of the Kashi. He himself is staying there. Trayambakeshwara Bhairava. Trayambakeshwara Jyotirlinga is Trayambakeshwara is Jyotirlinga. It is actually Vikranta Bhairava. In Vikranta Bhairava, it is also said that Vikranta Bhairava Swarupa is also connected to Pātāla Bhairava. So, in 12 Jyotirlingas, 2 are hidden, which has not been disclosed as a Pātāla Bhairava. One, Viranta Bhairava, Trayambakeshwara, and other is Mahakaleshwara Bhairava, Mahakaleshwara Jyotirlinga. There, Kala Bhairava himself is actually in the Swarupa of Pātāla Bhairava. When it comes to the Vaidyanatha, it is Ruru Bhairava himself. He is governing that space. Nageshwara Jyotirlinga, it is Samhara Bhairava. When it comes to the 11th, Rameshwaram, it is Ananda Bhairava. Ananda Bhairava is governing that space. Girineshwara, it is Kshema Bhairava. This is also very, very, like, again, maybe when time comes we will talk about this particular Swarupa. But all 12 Jyotirlingas are connected to one Kshetrapala. One particular Swarupa of the Bhairava is actually governing that space. And in 12 Jyotirlingas, as I told, in 2 Kshetras, Pātāla Bhairava himself is governing. One is Trambakeshwara, Vikranta Bhairava. Second is Ujjain, Mahakaleshwara. Here, Kala Bhairava himself as Kala Tattva, Pātāla Bhairava is recited. But when it comes to Kashi Vishwanatha, Kala Bhairava himself as Mahakala is sitting there. He is a Kshetrapala for entire Kashi Khanda. In 3 Swarupa, in 2 Jyotirlinga, direct reflection of Pātāla Bhairava we will be able to see. But if you see from a Tantric information perspective, these are the 3 Kshetras which is actually connected to Pātāla Bhairava. There is one more storyline actually which is connected to Pātāla Bhairava, very prominent, about Dasharamara. It is in Andhra Pradesh, one particular temple which is written. This particular information is available in Skanda Purāṇa, mentioning that particular hilltop of the Bhairava temple, Dasharamara, Dashamandala. Here it is identified that the form of, we call it a Sharabha avatar of a Shiva, this particular temple. Even this articulation information is available in Shrikant's, like, Rigveda, few of the Rigveda information which is written by our Rishimunis. It is written in one of the particular yogi by called as an Srinatha's Rigveda. Here they have articulated about the Pātāla Bhairava Swarupa, especially governing this Dasharamara Kshetra. Dasharamara Kshetra is actually Sharabhavatara's temple, Shiva's temple. Sharabhavatara, I believe you would be knowing it. Like, once Narasimha Avatara was not able to, his Avatara was so furious, to control him, it was like 1,000 times powerful than that particular Swarupa. Sharabhavatara came into picture with all the animals as a Shiva. And once he was able to control that situation. But again, in Devi Purana, it is spoken into a different way, where Varahima was able to emerge and she was able to control Sharabhavatara as well as a Narasimha. When Narasimha as well as a Sharabhavatara they were trying to create the havoc because of their angriness, their tamasika guna, then Varahima came into a picture. Even she was able to take care of the situation. Few also tell that actually Pratyangara Devi is also part of it. Varahima as well as Pratyangirima. Pratyangirima is actually like Simha Avatara of the Ma, where she was able to take control of Sharabhavatara as well as Narasimha. This particular information is very prominent, or in Skanda Purana it is very clearly written how exactly Sharabhavatara has been connected into the Shiva Swarupa. Here also we will be able to see about Pātāla Bhairava, how exactly he is the Kshetrapala of that Dasharamara Kshetra. And the third, which we always hear or see, is the story which I told earlier about Khandobā. Khandobā is actually Shiva Swarupa, which has been done Aradhana in Maharashtra as well as in northern part of Karnataka. He is also in northern part of the Karnataka, he is called as Mallanna. Okay, Mallari Bhairava. Mallari because he was able to kill the demon by name Mallara. Here he is also called as Marthanda Bhairava. Please do not get confused. He himself is being spoken into a different names of Swarupa. Khandobā Deva is spoken into a different name. Mallari Bhairava is also called Mallanna, Marthanda Bhairava, Mallari. There is one particular story called as Mallari Mahatyam. In Mallari Mahatyam, it is a beautiful story. Maybe you can read that book, which is a beautiful story connected to the Khandobā Devata. How exactly he was able to the demons of Mani as well as Malla. These were the two asuras, demons, who were actually, we can call it as restless. They did not, once they actually were able to feel they are trying to lose, and they did not went upward, they went downward to escape, and that's where actually Bhairava went. And in a Pātāla Bhairava episode, Khandobā came into existence in the how exactly he was able to kill Mallari or Malla. This is one of the how Khandobā Deva Mallanna or Mallari celebrated the victory on this Malla, is what about the Swarupa of the Pātāla Bhairava came into existence. There is a fourth prominent information, but there is no storyline here. It is down in the South India, in Tamil Nadu as well as in Karnataka, several ancient temples. It is connected to Pātāla Bhairava. One of them is actually very old temple, is about 10th century temple, which is near in the Belur Halebedu. Agandi village, there is one particular village where Bhairava is done Aradhana in like Pātāla Bhairava. There is no particular story like how exactly he came into existence in that particular, but it is then said that Cholas used to do a Aradhana of Pātāla Bhairava. And this is also said Agastya Mahamuni actually was able to consecrate this particular Swarupa of Bhairava himself. Again, there is no particular story, but I'm talking about 10th century. Pātāla Bhairava is available in this particular kshetra. Two more kshetras which is part of Tamil Nadu is, one is at Madurai, Nagapattanam in Tiruchi. Here actually we have Pātāla Bhairava Swarupa perspective. And one is connected to the Shakti Pita, this particular Swarupa is there. And one is actually in the near to the Krishnagiri. This is one temple called as an Bhairava Nilayam. In this Bhairava Nilayam temple, there is a consecration of the Bhairava. Kala Bhairava has been done. Till dated you will be able to find. One of the very powerful temple which is very near to the Bangalore, or people especially in the south, they can always visit this place near to the Krishnagiri. Here, just right side of the temple, there is a Bhairava Lingeshwara. After Bhairava Lingeshwara, there is a particular temple called Temple of the Kala Bhairava. All the Ashta Bhairavas are there, and just adjacent to the Kala Bhairava, there is actually beneath a underground which is being done, and in that underground, Pātāla Bhairava consecration has been done by that. Is what we call it as like, it has not been disclosed to the outer world. Very rarely they open and they do the Aradhana, and that is also connected to the what we call it as Jala Tattva. Even very few videos actually you can see about this particular information about Pātāla Bhairava, especially in Krishnagiri, which I have told. This particular Swarupa, here the complete Kshetra is governed by him, by Kala Bhairava, and entire 14 lokas, down realm is being taken care by what we call it as Pātāla Bhairava. See, why we need to understand this particular Swarupa of the Pātāla Bhairava is very less being spoken as. In Tantra, this name is not being taken very casually, because Tantra knows him but refuses to publish him, because he is not being done Aradhana as normal Swarupa of the Bhairava. Okay, in the Kaula as well as in Aghora lineage, Pātāla Bhairava is called as karmic excavator. He is like, he will dig or he will scoop once whoever do the Aradhana of him. Normally here, the sadhaka who have completed the highest level of the sadhana, they only can do the Aradhana of Pātāla Bhairava. Because once you consciously want to clear all your karmic actions, this is what the Swarupa of the Bhairava which is going to help as Pātāla Bhairava. He is also the guardian of the hidden Vedas. As I told you, 5th Veda. Where exactly the 5th Veda is there? It is not Kapala Bhairava, or it is not the Kala Bhairava. Kala Bhairava took this to the Pātāla Loka, and it was kept as a Gupta Vidya in the Tantra Loka. In the 7 realms, he had kept this particular information as Gupta Vidya. This is where actually the hidden Vidya is been of the Bhairava is what we have it. This particular Swarupa normally being done aradhana for clearing of any kind of a depths, any kind of a deepest ancestor curses, or any kind of a buried samskāras, which is part of any in Jyotisha Shastra also we will tell, do the aradhana of the Bhairava. But here the hidden information is, once you do the aradhana of the Bhairava, all Bhairava Swarupa is active, and he will make sure that actually he is going to take you on the stages. This is why this particular in the Kaula, in this particular Swarupa of the Bhairava, in the Kaula is been said, it is not open, this door is not open for every sadhakas. He invokes at the night. They normally invoke this particular Swarupa only at the night, where beneath the ground. As I told you, normally in the Bhuloka realm, they will not do this kind of aradhana. They only do in the cremation ground or the beneath the world or the beneath the ground. Never in the casual note. No any kind of a public yantras, mantras has been spoken for him. No open mantras has been shared to any kind of a sadhakas here. Only oral transmission or the direct encounterment of the Bhairava mantra has been given to the sadhakas. He does not grant boons. He removes what you were hiding from your many lives. This is why once Pātāla Bhairava comes into sadhaka's life, he will ensure that all your karmic actions has been wiped out. And how many layers of Pātāla Bhairava has existed, that is one more big information which as a sadhakas what we need to know. In the Tantra, what we call it as, this particular Bhairava is not for inside all the lokas. Here we can call it as Pātāla Bhairava, is whether it is only beneath the world. No. The lokas are inside the Bhairava. Maybe let me just tell you like this. He is a Kala Tattva. He is a time consciousness. He is entire time frame which is governing all the 14 lokas, that allows the entire realms to rise, sustain and dissolve. What we call it as Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesha, this one particular Swarupa who takes care of entire time frame of rise, sustain and dissolve is Kala Tattva. And this Kala Tattva is it can be framed as a time consciousness. This time consciousness is governed, or this is being taken care by Bhairava himself. And let me just give you a little more information. When it comes to the different lokas, 14 lokas, there are different levels of knowledges or a Bhairava is connected to here. Somewhat like a knowledge is connected to the Bhairava. So when it comes to the Bhuloka, see, Bhuloka is actually a karmic loka for all the humans, for all of us, to clear our karmic dues, whichever we have bought as prarabdha karma. We will try to clear all those prarabdha, and we will ensure that agama karma is not been created. Sanchita karma we have created, we will be cleansing all those things and we will be moving forward. This is somewhat like a package of the karmas, we are going to cleanse it out. Here Bhairava is a Kshetrapala. He is actually the guardian of the entire Bhuloka. Above the Bhuloka, it is Bhuvarloka. Bhuvarloka is like astral. Okay, astral is like gurus, especially who can move from the Bhuloka to Bhuvarloka. They used to actually always travel from one loka to other loka. This is somewhat like called as a subtle emotional realm. This particular realm is also being governed, or we can tell it is it is above than the Pitruloka. Bhuloka, Pitruloka is not being said here, but it is hidden. Okay, Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, astral, where Guru Tattva, normally gurus go there, or Pitruloka, somewhat we can call it as. Bhairava is a guardian for it. Even he is for any kind of a transition, he is a guardian for it. Next is actually Swargaloka. In many of the religions, this has been said as the highest realm. No. In Sanatana, this is the third upper realm. Swargaloka is a third upper realm, which is called an Indraloka. Here you can find that many of the stories connected to the Devatas, we can even connect it to that, actually it connected to the pleasure, or it has been connected to the power. Indraloka is actually, he is the god of entire Devaloka. Here, Bhairava as a time limit of the enjoyment he is going to provide you. This is not going to be the liberation part. When it comes to the above than the Swargaloka, the fourth Loka, it is Maharloka. Maharloka is what all Saptarushis, the greatest sages, go there. It is a cosmic mind. It is a connection between Brahmaloka as well as a Bhuloka. This is where actually all kind of Upanishads, Vedas, information, they were able to go and they were able to download this information. Bhairava as a Vaka Shakti controls this particular realm. Next is actually Jnanaloka. To go into the Maharloka to the Jnanaloka, Jnanaloka is all about wisdom. Okay, subtle knowledge of the information. Bhairava witnesses consciousness here. It is a silent witnesses of the consciousness here. He is not in the Swarupa here. He is a silent witnesses consciousness. And Jnanaloka is where actually entire wisdom of the cosmos is being embedded. And what we call it as the sixth Loka is Tapaloka, a realm of intense tapas. This is actually when Kundalini activation is being done. People always tell that it is always connected to the upper Loka. Tapaloka is where actually Bhairava inner fire burns the ego of a person and takes us to that particular stage. The last stage, what we have it is Satyaloka, Brahmaloka. It is said that Brahmaloka is a realm of the pure truth. Bhairava here in a Kala Bhairava, Mahakala Swarupa is recited as. It is like awareness without any kind of a fear. Once person is without any fear, when he is being governed or supported by Kala Bhairava, he is in Brahmaloka without any kind of a time constraint. But again, there are many people talk about like Goloka, Vishnu Loka, all these things actually come into the picture talking about that particular. But here, these are the 7 lokas: Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Swargaloka, Maharloka, Jnanaloka, Tapaloka, and Satyaloka. We have heard about all these things because whenever there was any kind of a trouble, demons used to govern all these particular loka and they used to take care of it. But they never used to cross the third loka, Swargaloka. Swargaloka was the last realm they can enter into. Maharloka, only sages can enter. Even to enter here, Devatas need to take a permission. That is how actually it has been governed. This particular cosmic arrangements has been done. But when it comes to the lower lokas, connecting to the Pātāla lokas, Pātāla loka is not just beneath the Bhuloka. It is somewhat like Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, and next is Pātāla. 7 stages of lower loka is what about the Pātāla loka is all about. See, when it comes to the Bhairava Guna, how exactly one particular sādhaka is still in the Pātāla realm is like, see, once a sadhaka or desire or a curiosity is very, very high in one person, it is considered that he is still in the Atala Loka, below even the Bhuloka. Because he will repeatedly do the karmas and he will be in the Bhuloka only. He will come back to the Bhuloka, but his consciousness is still in Atala Loka, below the Bhuloka. Desires, curiosity, always curious about one or the other thing. Want to know about something new, always want to explore something, want to know, dissect, see what exactly it is rather than experiencing it. The second set of people is like we can call it as a very vital force or a raw energy. This is where Vitala is all about. The third is about Sutala, the power with the devotion. You know that Bali in the same Vamana Avatara, when Vishnu was able to send the Bali inside the Pātāla Loka, but he did not went to Pātāla, Sutala Loka, he went to Sutala Loka where power of the devotion has been connected there. Talatala is actually like occult mastery, and occult mastery is somewhat like whoever are governed by, these are the realms actually, they are like already crossed this realms and they are actually having this knowledges. And we can divert this into a different way. Whoever has a mastery of the occult or a technology of the Tantra Loka, they actually come from Talatala. They have the knowledge from the Talatala Loka. Mahatala is actually, this is like survival fear. Many of them tell that actually I have a survival fear, I don't know tomorrow how I'm going to get, I have lot of dues, I don't know how to create. These set of people's collective anxiety, they actually are living in Mahatala Loka. Mahatala is the fifth beneath the Bhuloka. They are still in survival. They want to just survive. I need something. I need some promotion. I need some money. I need wife. I need only survival fear. The collective consciousness is actually embedded here. Rasatala is about serpent wisdom. This is where actually actual information of Bhairava is hidden. Subconscious serpent wisdom is what Rasatala Loka is all about. Naga Loka, whatever we speak, this is the sixth Loka of the downward realm, which is Rasatala. The seventh and the last Loka is about Pātāla. Pātāla is a root. Okay, it is a time depth. It is a truth. We can call it a primal truth. And whoever goes here, all lower lokas are not hell. People have a different mindset or a mythological stories or a mythological events they have seen and they think that actually it is. No. All the lower lokas are not hell. They are unfinished consciousness states. And Bhairava rules them directly. One or the other way, he rules the entire loka of all these lower lokas. And he actually makes sure sadhaka goes to the upward of it. And this is the reason Bhairava sadhana is going to be a game changer for every of the sadhakas, whoever do aradhana of the Bhairava. Because he is going to remove from each lokas of the sadhakas to the next level. Even to be centered, sit in Bhuloka and do a sadhana to go to the next Bhurloka, it requires the transition from each different lower lokas also. And that can happen only because of his grace. And here, entire what we call it as a classical cosmology, even in Bhagavad Purāṇa or in a Vishnu Purāṇa or in any kind of a Tantra mapping, Pātāla is not one particular realm it is connected to. As I told, 7 different levels. And all these 7 layers which I told you, connected to each one of them. Maybe, as I told you, like Pātāla, Rasatala, Mahatala, Talatala, Sutala, Vitala, Atala. I'm talking about the downward, not from the Bhuloka to the Pātāla, from the Pātāla to the Bhuloka. But if you call here in what we call it as Atala, a realm of a desire amplification, uncontrollable carving will be there, absorption, addiction, people who ever have a lot of addiction, if you see addiction of any kind of actions, they are still living in Atala Loka. Carving, uncontrollable carving for anything, eating or any kind of a pleasure, obsessions, they are still living in Atala Loka. Desire amplification is so high for them. Vitala is like destroying the power. I need all the power. I am everything. I know everything. I am Guru, self-proclaimed Guru. I have an ego, dominating, manipulating of the information, abusing of the authority is someone is trying to do. They are still living in the Vitala Loka. Sutala is like realms of binding the karmas. Okay, it is like debts, obligations, ancestors pull, all these things part of the Sutala. We talk about Pitrushapa, debs, all comes from a Jatakam, what we call it as an astrology in the Jataka, in Kundali, we call it that actually this has always been present. Where exactly this karma has been recited? It is recited in the Sutala. The binding of karma happens from the Sutala Loka. Tala is somewhat like, it is somewhat like a technology, okay? Misuse of the knowledge or power within the wisdom. They have the power. I tell, this has always been said. See, when it comes to the Bhairava sadhana, we always need to see about the destination to go to his consciousness. Whatever the siddhi, this is a milestones. And when siddhi comes, if you stop there, it is a misuse of the knowledge. It is a power within the wisdom is being misused. Those things, karmic actions collectively happens in a tala loka, and people get dropped to that particular loka. Mahatala is actually a realm of the fear or a survival subconsciousness. As I told, thromic loops, they always have a trouble in everything, everything. Even if they want to do any kind of a sadhana or a japa or any kind of a mantra, they always have a fear. What will happen if I do this particular sadhana? Is there any kind of a negative things? Their consciousness is still in the Mahatala Loka, a realm of the fear. Survival subconsciousness is what Mahatala Loka is all about. Paranomic. People talk about paranomic problems. I have some Atmas in my home. They come and they trouble me. Where exactly this karma has been packed into? This karma is packed into Mahatala Loka. The thromic loops is connected into. People whoever have like paranomic issues surrounding them, they are still, their karmas are packed or still in the Mahatala Loka. They need to cleanse, they need to clear the Mahatala Loka karmic actions so that they can even come the one stage above to the Bhuloka. Rasatala is somewhat like loss of discernments, especially like truth and illusion. They always live in the illusion. And that is Rasatala. Pātāla is realm of the root karma. Entire karmic actions is where this is where it is being seated. It is a time loop. Entire time frame is looped here, and this is where the entire time frame has been set. Entire karmic actions is been sat here. Time loop, where karmas are stored, not expressed. This is also called, as I told you, previously I told about Rasatala, where actually Nagaloka is the start of it. Pātāla is the Nagaloka, where karmas are stored. This is the reason, even in the astrology, whenever they have any kind of a depths, problem issues, they always tell like actually go to the Naga, do a surrender to the Naga. And Naga Swarupa, you are knowingly, unknowingly doing the Aradhana of the Bhairava, because Pātāla Loka, his Vahana is Naga. See, Pātāla is described into the Purāṇas into the many ways, more luxurious, okay, than Swargaloka. Because Pātāla Loka, pleasure is not the purity, it is entanglement. You get all the, what do you call it as, luxurious things from the Pātāla Loka only. The gold, the metals, everything comes from the Pātāla, from the beneath, from the underworld. And here, it is about the entanglement. This is how Bhairava is able to take us from one loka to the other loka, such that actually we can reach to his after Brahma Loka. I personally feel, my Guru always tell, it is Bhairava Loka. And Bhairava Loka is complete space where exactly each Bhairava sadhaka need to travel. From 14th Loka, if you still feel that actually I am still of a desire of a luxurious things, you are living in the Pātāla Loka. The root of the karma, as a time frame, as I told, you are just actually jumping between each consciousness. Sometimes in Pātāla, when you have something like a fear, you jump to the Mahatala Loka. You will have something like actually manipulation mind, you come into picture in a duty of the office or in duty of the mid of your actions. some manipulation mind comes into, or you try to dominate your own family members or the people in the office. Vitala Loka, you are just jumping or hopping between the different lokas, from one loka to the other loka and the other loka to coming back to the same Pātāla Loka consciousness. This is about the luxuriousness to grab, to think that actually I am in a Swarga Loka. No, you are in an entanglement. You are just hopping between each different lokas. Here, the only person who can make us to move from each different loka is only Bhairava. Pātāla is not the place or a dimension. This is where the Tantra diverges from a mythological perspective. Mythological talk about the story, but the diversion of the Tantra talks the truth. The Tantra is about the truth. Pātāla is not the underground geography. It is a frequency band of consciousness each individual live wherein. They actually just hop between each different actions in their day-to-day life, and they actually, the ratio of the actions differ, but still they are in the realm of this lower lokas only. Just as a ratio wave exists in the same space between the different frequencies happen, we are just hopping between the different lokas. We are not even trying to go to the upper lokas at all. Pātāla exists within this world, unseen, unfelt, or even still but active. In the modern translation, I can call it as like in today's world, Pātāla Loka is somewhat like subconscious layers. Okay, we even nowadays doctor talk about something called as anthromic memories, and even when it comes to the astrology, people talk about ancestral conditioning, and even we can call it as compulsive behavior loops. People have a compulsive behavior actions. Shadow psychic, few times they will be like in a different, they will be actually, their mood swing will be very, very high. See, when it comes to this, we need to understand algorithmical addiction cycles. This is in today's modern science, it is called as an algorithmical addiction cycles. They actually hop between, in a day, they hop between each different actions. Power without or within drama systems, they will try to create it. You don't go to the Pātāla Loka, you fall into the Pātāla Loka. We are all always into the Pātāla Loka, where we always think that no, Pātāla is somewhat beneath my leg. No, it is within, inside us. How Pātāla Loka activates today is, see, Mahatala or Rasatala, this is called as an actually Mahatala and the Rasatala. As I explained you, information without any kind of a wisdom. They have self-proclaimed. I have a group of people, I am a guru, and people start listening to me. Or whatever I said, you all need to call, or you need to see that actually the information what I share, a proper wisdom is being shared. A power without the responsibility. You may be seeing today's the political issues or the people surrounding you may be having these problems. Pleasure without fulfillment. Always indulge into the pleasures. Need this, after this we need this, after this we need this. Identity confusion. Nowadays the Gen Z or a Gen Z guys will always talk about this particular. Many of the consultation, whenever I do any kind of a discussion with the youngsters, they talk about this identity confusions. Dopamine addictions. I really feel very confused. They are addicted in the mobile. Fear-based survival livings. They always tell that I am fear about tomorrow, what is going to happen. Consistent distraction in their inner stillness. They always have this problem. And here, trust me, they are not even living in the Bhuloka. They are still living in the Mahatala and the Rasatala Yuga. This is not accidental. The Puranic time cycle, whatever we have it, in the humanity loses inside the hierarchies, what we always see into. See, consciousness collapse. Downwards will happen, not upwards at all. They always will be in this particular loop. And if you ask how to come out of it, Bhairava is the only solution. Sadhana is the only key. The downward pull is a Pātāla activation in your life. Then why did Pātāla Bhairava Now how he is going to help us? Because keep this in mind. As I told, time is Kala Bhairava. Okay? Fear and death, whoever has of fear and death, they are actually need to do this Aradhana of Aghora Bhairava. Aghora Bhairava is somewhat like Bhairava Swarupa. Space and protection, always have a fear of the problem, basic livelihood problems. This is also can be removed only by Bhairava because he protects the space and protection. Kshetrapala, he is a Kshetrapala. Vichitra Punyavardhanam. Bhairava is a Vichitra Punyavardhanam. We can't even imagine what sort of actually the actions or what type of phala, what type of outcomes he is going to give it to us when particular Aradhana is being done. But Pātāla Bhairava rules what you cannot escape even after the death. People think that after, few of them actually think that actually they can end this life. Trust me, they are actually in the loop. They only go into the beneath, or even if you are living here, you are actually hopping between different lokas. This body is a kshetra, and to govern this is what actually the Bhairava is all going to do it. Kshetrapala, he is a Kshetrapala of the subconscious cosmic energy within. His functions is he governs the root karmas, entire from Pātāla Loka to the Brahma Loka, he is going to govern it. Exposes the buried samskāras which is there from our prarabdha karma, whichever we have bought, which is not we are going to cleanse it, he is going to remove that. He breaks the ancestral ropes. He is going to destroy the spiritual bypass actions. He is going to force us the integration of the shadows, whatever we are facing in that life. This is why his Sharan are underground. Pātāla Bhairava is not seen. His Aradhana, his experience need to be done. His worship is unlit. His name is rarely been spoken. Pātāla Bhairava, very rarely you will be able to hear about him. His mantra has not been spoken publicly at all because he is there in everyone. But here you need to understand why sādhakas are being pulled towards him now, because this is the age where a distance first will happen. He is going to show you where exactly you are standing, which particular realm you are going to stand, where exactly we are standing and how exactly we need to come out of it. Intense inner resistance when you are happening in your life. Sudden life collapse. Identity losses are happening. Dry japa phases. People are just scrolling the mala and tell that I don't know what is getting connected. Dry japa phases. Emotional plunges happening. Unplanned karmic surface which is going to come into our life. Try to understand. This is not a failure. You are not in a trouble. You are blessed. This is where Pātāla Bhairava, Pātāla is opening to us, and the only Bhairava can walk there without getting you trapped into it. And the trapping can only happen when we have a fear of tomorrow. As I told, mapping of the several Pātāla levels in the modern psychology, which I have already shared, try to understand. Psychological state, Atada, many talk about addiction loops, observation, attraction, dopamine. They talk about dopamine dependency, addiction of the mobile, addiction of some substance in their life, fantasy driven living being. They think that luxury is everything for them. Again, psychological states always differ. Desire amplification will always be there. Mind constantly seek stimulations. Silence feels unbearable to them. If you be in this stage, try to understand you are still in Atala Loka. Whoever you see or your own actions, ego or the power, distortion is happening. Manipulation is there in the life. Somewhat like spiritual superstitious is going to happen. I know better. I know everything. And I can talk about any devata. I can talk about any point of time frame. I can talk about anyone. The knowledge increases. Humanity collapses here and think that that particular person's, or you yourself, you are in a Vitala Loka. Ego is governing you. Karmic bondages, family karmas, father is not supporting, father is actually beating mother, mother is not in good situation with the family. Every family will have such kind of issues. Relationship loops, guilty driven responsibilities will be there. Understand, your karmas are embedded in Sutala Loka, karmic bondages. Life feels heavier, but unavoidable will be there. Misuse of the knowledge, Talatala Loka. As I told you, spiritual techniques without maturity will be there. Here, intellectualization of the Tantra has been spoken, but without any kind of an experience. Om Swami actually talks about this very beautifully. Today's book, whatever we have, if in the book or in any kind of a video, so-called video, if we talk about or put a word as a Tantra, people think that as it is a Tantra. No. These people or these experiences, psychologically it is called Talatala Loka, misuse of the knowledge. And power increases here, wisdom does not work at all. And basically fear of survival mode, most of them, whoever are always come to the Bhairava, psychological state is anxiety, they'll have scarcity thinking, hypervigilance. Someone is seeing me, someone is actually watching me, I need to be very conscious, I need to be very active, I need to make sure that all actions are being thromic responsibilities they always have. We can call it as numerous systems living, fighting for the livelihood. Where they are living? They are living nowhere in Bhuloka. They are still living in Mahatala Loka. Survival fear is there in their life. Pātāla is, as I told you, in all this root of the karma is deep subconsciousness stored of all our actions. This is the root. Ancestors' memory is there. We can even call it as a time loop pattern. Everything is there. This is not the emotions. Again, I tell you, Pātāla Loka is not about the emotion. Pātāla Loka, this is a samskara. We call it a samskara which has been embedded. Most people live between Atala, Mahatala. Their entire life is very few consciousness touches. Even they never go into the Pātāla Loka also. Always they will be in Atala, Mahatala. Forget about Bhuloka. They don't want to clear their karmas at all. They always want to hop between one loka to the other loka. This particular connection between Pātāla Loka Bhairava and our own realm is what actually the connection is. But when it has come to governance, if you recall, I told about Pātāla Loka is governed by Nāgas, not the demons, not the gods. Nāgas are not the snakes. Let me just tell you. They are the symbol of, we call it as preserved intelligence. Naga serpents in the human head form or a human body form, but body will be in the form of the Nagas. Here Naga represents the memory without the knowledge, time without the urgency, or we can call it as a power without the expression. Psychologically, Nagas are subconscious intelligence. Okay, this is why the Nagas guards the hidden treasures, and Pātāla Loka is all about hidden information. What we have it, Nagas guard the Amrita. Even the Amrita is guarded by them. The churning was done by Naga. Vishnu, you know that the story. I don't want to talk about that. Nagas guarded the Amrita. The Nagas guarded even the Pātāla Loka, because the raw memory, what we call it as premature or a destroying of the identity, can only happen when the Nagas blessings are there in the life. And this is somewhat like a cyclical awareness. Shedding the skin, renewal, this is somewhat like cyclical awareness, can guard us. And this can only happen when we remove identity, ego, shedding the skin, renewal of our connection with the Bhairava. That is the reason I always talk about Mandala Sadhana. A repeated Mandala Sadhana is going to create you cyclical awareness. Cyclical awareness is nothing but shedding your skin, a renewal of your connection between Bhairava. And once, that is why Bhairava, who transcends the time and commands enter the Nagaloka, once you become purified, Bhairava is going to govern to you. He is going to bring you to the Bhuloka. Once you are brought to the Bhuloka, your karmas can be cleansed out. That is where the true karmas can start shedding. See, underground temples, one Puranic Tantra, we talk about a lot of temples beneath the Pātāla Loka. Trust me, many of the temples are beneath the Bhuloka. Many of the temples you may be seeing in the underground. These are the space. Even the Rishi Munis used to go and sit there and used to do the tapas, because they know how their intelligence is acting towards against them, and how they can drop that, and how to move their consciousness to the upper lokas. And Pātāla Loka is not meant to be worshipped. Pātāla Bhairava, Pātāla Loka, Pātāla Bhairava, where Pātāla Bhairava resides, is not meant to be worshipped. He is meant to be met. As I told you, Rishi Munis used to go and meet him. When the karma collapse, when the path, you think that I am this luxury or whatever is my path, the path vanishes. When sadhaka can no longer pretend to be pure, he is stepping towards Pātāla Bhairava. And only then does the real earth or real Bhu opens and the Bhairava rises. And that's where actually Bhairava is going to bless us. Not to bless. Bhairava in a Pātāla Swarupa is not going to bless. Not to punish. But to finish what the soul remember from the lifetimes ago. Hopping between one loka to other loka. Because we are still, our consciousness is still in that place. Here, every loka has an hierarchy. Pātāla has no hierarchy at all. Only power. No devatas, no moral rules, no social dramas, only raw existence before polish, raw rice, or what we call it as a rawness. And that rawness is only what Bhairava is all about. And Pātāla Bhairava, and Bhairava before civilization touches him, that's where Bhairava is going to bless us into the different levels. See, this is the reason, after each mandala, people talk about Prathama Mandala, why we need to do 144 days, or after 48 days of a mandala, why we need to do the second mandala. Few of them are actually continuing their 5th or 6th mandala with Brahmacharyam. Reason is, as I told you, they'll start shedding every of the actions in their life. They're going to be much more close. As Nāgas, as I told, cyclical awareness, they're shedding it, shedding the skin, and the renewal of them happens, and they are connecting close to Bhairava. And once you close, your consciousness is rising from each loka to the other loka. And that's where, see, this is the reason why I always tell 14 lokas is governed and taken care by the time consciousness itself by the Bhairava. That is the reason always we speak Sarvam Bhairava Mayam, Sarvam Bhairava Surupam. All that is hidden, it is all Bhairava. And that can only happen with his grace and information, where we as a sadhakas can even talk about, know about him, experience about him, and get into him only when his grace is there in this particular life. Maybe with this note, we will conclude this particular episode. Satsanga. All videos are satsangas. The way you are going to receive it is going to all matters. There's only how you are going to experience each information is going to matter only in yourself. No one come and pour you this information. You yourself, you are experiencing this. Maybe with this note, we'll take a leave. We'll come with one more information of our Ishtartha Guru Bhairava. We'll talk, know, hear, and experience him in a different swarupas. Om Kalakalaya Vidmahe Kalatītāya Dhīmahi Tanno Kala Bhairava Prachodayāt. Om Hingule Paramahingule Amrita Rupini Tanushaktivana Shiveshri Hingulaya Namaha. Kamakya Varade Devi Nila Parvatavasini Tvam Devi Jagatam Matram Yoni Mudre Namostute. Namaskaram.